Always a pleasure to be of service to humanity. Always a pleasure to seize any opportunity I have to advocate for mental health. And of course, when I had this opportunity, I was like, wow, what a beautiful one. It's something that I am familiar with. It's a familiar terrain. And I know that the one or two things I'm going to say or share with everybody here is really going to help someone. I know the interesting thing is I've decided that why not for a switch? We are talking about workplace. And if you are looking at a workplace, the workplace constitutes of the employer and the employee. Most times, we put more emphasis on the employees. The employees needs to be well. What about the employer? The employer and his business is also something that we should consider. So I'm trusting God that with the time that we have, we'll be able to look at how we can prioritize, and actually not just prioritize by words, but by action. The watchword there is action. Take action. Once you notice that something needs to change, once you notice that something needs to, you need to realign something, then you need to take action. What I don't see most of the time is action. I see a lot of talk, but I don't see action. So we tell someone, take care of yourself, but the person is still lazy and still not doing what he or she is supposed to do to, be at the right frame of mind. So thank you so much once again, and thank you for listening to me also, my honorable listeners. Yeah, thank you. I want to believe that everyone listening to me here falls into any of these two categories. Either you're an employer or you're an employee. So all this is going to benefit you. Okay, so I've decided to just I would have loved to play a little game, but because of our time, I will just tell you something that you can do to test your mental health. If I had the time, I would have asked us to do it. But then, if you are watching, I want you to try it. Get a piece of paper or your phone and try and see the word mental health. How many words can you coin out of that two word? It's two word, mental health. Mental health. How many word can you coin out of that word, mental health? You can get up to about 8. I've seen someone that's gotten up to about 8 words. 6, 7, 8 words is good enough. But if you're able to get just 2 words or none at all, it means that, you need to start working on your stretch. You need to stretch your brain more, So try it. Let's see how well you can do. That word mental health, how many words can you bring out of it? For instance, the simplest you can think of in mental health, you can coin out a word there, men, men. Okay, there's a men in mental health. There's a health in mental health. So let me stop there because that's the easiest ones. But then there are so many other words that you can bring out of it. So I'll allow you to deal with that. You can do that after now. So just to run down what I want us to talk about today, we're going to be talking about what is mental health. We're going to talk about the differences between mental health and mental health illnesses. Then we'll talk about common mental health conditions in the workplace. Then we'll talk about factors that can affect both the employer and the employee, mental health well-being. Then finally, we'll talk about how to prioritize the employer and employees' mental well-being. Okay. So normally I would like to start with, I'm very big with statistics. I'm looking at my time and I trust that God will help me with the timing, really. I'm a trainer, so we usually take time to talk. So I'm big on statistics. And why I love statistics is that it gives you an overview of what we are talking about. So we just don't come and talk. We have facts, we have figures. You can search this thing out yourself. Thank God for Google. You can search it and find yourself and ask yourself, what are the statistics, underlying statistics? People have done research on mental health, especially in the workplace. What is happening based on statistics? Well, unfortunately, yeah, I need to add this. In Nigeria, we don't have healthy statistics. Okay, but we can do with what we have. And then globally, there are statistics too that we can kind of apply to our own environment. But I wish that we have more researches on mental health in the workplace so that we can have very good statistics. Okay. So it is a challenge to researchers out there. So one of the statistics I checked up, I've always known but I had to also check to see if there's an upgrade to it, is the fact that it has been researched and is there for us to know that most of the mental health issues, just mark my words, I'm going to explain something very soon about mental health issues and mental health illnesses. You hear me mostly talk about mental health issues, okay? There's a reason why. Most of the mental health issues that we see around here are traceable to our work condition. So out of 10 people, most likely it's 5 people out of 10 people that have mental health issues, you can trace their mental health issues to their working environment. Meaning that if working environments are poor, if we continue to have working environments that are filled or choked with discrimination, inequality, excessive workload, stress and burnout, low job insecurity, and so many job threats, it affects people. And you see people having mental health issues that are tied to their working environment. That's why it's very important. The second thing I discovered statistically is that 60% of the world's population are at work most of the time. 60% of the work population are at work most of the time. So in environment are conducive for us, because that is where we spend most of our time. That is where we get our livelihood. That is where we have, for some people, you see that it's from their work, they begin to discover purpose, they begin to build confidence, they begin to feel a sense of achievement. And also it's an opportunity to connect, to build relationships. So that is why our working environment is very key. Very, very key. Another statistics I got is the fact that globally, an estimated 12 billion working days are lost every year to depression and anxiety. And this is costing us money. So you can 12 billion working days in a year is being lost as a result of people falling short to some of these mental health issues. Either they are calling in sick, they are being absent at work, they are not being productive. And then in our offices, we lose productivity, we lose money. In fact, the amount stated here is about $1 trillion per year is lost in terms of productivity because of this prevalent mental health issues that I feel needs to take, needs our attention. And I'm happy that we're having this kind of conversation, hoping that it's either, like I say, you're an employer or an employee, so you can fit into any of this talk. And it's very important we have this conversation, because the more we have conversations on this, the more people understand what mental health issues are and what it is not, and it reduces the stigma and it reduces the shame around it. You understand? So let me go to differentiating. I've been talking about mental health issues, but there's something called mental health illness, okay? So before you talk about illness, you must have passed through issues. Now, mental health issues or mental health generally is just the same thing. You've been hearing about it, but maybe there's someone here that is asking him or herself, what is even mental health? So I want to ask you, what do you think is physical health? You must have, mostly we hear physical health. So physical health is just the state of your body, your physical body. You understand? The state of your physical body. You're not having headache, no malaria and all that, no typhoid and all that. That is physical health. But when you talk about your mental health, you're not talking about the state of your mind, which is not seen. The state of your mind, the state of your feeling, how you feel about things, how you're able to process issues, and your emotions. These 3 things are key when you talk about mental health. How is your mind? How do you process issues? How do you feel when you process issues? How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel healthy, empowered, or does it make you, or does it disempower you? And then your emotions, your ability to control emotions, because there will always be challenging issues. There will always be things that will weigh us down and all that. But how do you manage them in your emotions? All these things are what is captured under mental health. Okay, mental health, because these things, there will always be life challenges. There will always be, we're talking about working condition, relationships will come in. Your ability to be able to cope with all these things is what we look at when we are talking about mental health. Now, sometimes you are not able to cope with these things adequately. That's why we talk about stress. This onset of stress, you begin to feel stress. If you don't properly take care of your stress level, you begin to get to the burnout level. If you don't take if you don't look at it very well, you begin to enter into depression. Okay, so the onset of sometimes our inability to cope with life challenges and things life throw at us is what we call mental health issues. You are beginning to develop some mental health issues. You are beginning to have some form of sleepless nights. Maybe occasionally, you are beginning to have a sense of depression setting in. I'm going to define all those things. Depression setting in here and there. You're beginning to feel like you're getting easily overwhelmed. All these things are mental health issues. And we try to, and trust me, it is treatable at that level. When you begin to feel it, when you begin to notice that your productivity is not at its peak, because sometimes you know why, sometimes you don't know why. But you're beginning to feel that, I'm beginning to feel some form of sadness, consistent sadness. I'm beginning to feel some form of consistent sadness. I'm not able to cope. I'm not able to, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to be productive. I'm struggling to relate with people. I'm struggling to contribute to my society. The mental health issues are beginning to set in. That is when it's good to begin to now talk to somebody, a therapist or a counselor, that will help channel you quickly back on track. Now, people that don't put this thing on check, because once you don't check this thing, it now graduates into mental health illness or disorders. So you can have onset of depressions that can be treated easily with probably maybe things like talk therapy and all that. But if you don't look at it, if you don't treat it, it can degenerate and become a disorder. You understand? So it can become a disorder, and you become dysfunctional, meaning that you're not able to function as you should be. Okay, meaning that you're not able to function as you should be. Some of the common mental health conditions that we can find in our work environment, I'm sure a lot of you will relate to this. That maybe sometimes you might not even know the name, but here am I giving you an example. Then you can now say, oh, this was what's going on in my mind. I didn't know this was happening to me. What are some of these common what are these common mental health conditions? Anxiety, for instance. Anxiety is just a feeling of excessive fear and worry. When you have this fear for the future, fear of something that has not even happened, and it becomes so excessive, it makes you dysfunctional. It makes you, sometimes you sit down and you're on a matter, you're thinking of something for hours. Instead of you being productive at work, you're just thinking about tomorrow, thinking about something like a job interview. You're thinking about a work you need to deliver, something you need to deliver, and you're thinking, oh, it's not good enough. You're just filled with excessive worry, panicking. You understand? You're panicking. If you discover all these things, it's an onset of anxiety. Something is causing it. That's where you now need to sit down and ask yourself, why am I feeling anxious, and what can I do about it? Another common mental health issues we find in our workplace is depression. It's not everybody that is sad that is depressed. It's not everybody that is unhappy that is depressed. You need to be diagnosed. You need to see an expert or a therapist that will ask you the necessary question before he can diagnose you as someone that is depressive or that had depressive disorders. Okay. But there are some onset of depression. Maybe you are having sadness for a couple of hours. A couple of your day is spent in hopelessness. couple of your days or hours, couple of your hours in your days is spent in feeling of hopelessness, poor concentration level. You are beginning to feel low about yourself. You are beginning to ask yourself, who am I? I can't do anything. I am nobody. And then very importantly, you are beginning to entertain suicidal thoughts. Thoughts like, I am not good enough. I shouldn't be existing. Maybe I should just die. I am tired. I am all that. These are depressive onset thoughts. You understand? Now, when it becomes disorder, I'm sure there will be so many other questions and a health expert will ask you. But then when you have these depressive thoughts for all day and for a long time, as long as 2 weeks, you are sad, perpetually sad every day for as long as 2 weeks, we cannot categorize you in either you are having severe depression, acute depression, and all that. But then there are sometimes you begin to feel in some hours in a day, you're just down, you're just feeling hopeless, feeling down, and having all those I'm tired thoughts, suicidal thoughts. Is time to now begin to ask yourself, why am I having this thoughts, this depressive thoughts, and maybe talk to someone about it. What of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder? Normally happens to people, especially after some traumatic events like accidents, surgeries, maybe robberies, rape incidents, and some other very unpleasant happenings, domestic violence, and all that. These are traumatic events, and when they happen to you, they leave a mark in you, they traumatize you. But then because you have to go to work, you notice that most times you sit down and then there's a flash of the thoughts of what has happened to you coming to your mind, and then you are downcast, you are afraid, you are panicking, you are agitating because of just a thought of what has happened to you. That is trauma. It is treatable. The moment you begin to notice it, and you can talk to someone, you can actually treat it. Okay. What of mood swings? You notice you're occasionally having mood swings, happy now, sad tomorrow, happy today, happy next 1 hour, sad next hour. These are mood swings. We have the work-life balance, when you're beginning to have issues balancing yourself, both at work and in the office, especially for women. It happens to men too. You're a mother and it's becoming very tiring for you to balance yourself as a nursing mother, and then you have to go to work. If you feel like the work is taking too much of your time, you're not giving so much to your children or to your family, and because of that, you're so stressed and overwhelmed. All these things are mental health conditions that you can see. Once you see them, it is time to take action. It is time to ask questions. It is time to sit with yourself and ask yourself, what can I do? Because these are onsets of mental health illnesses if they are not well checked. I hope you guys are following me and I'm not too fast. And I'm sure there will be time for questions, so I'll wait for that time. Now, what are some of the factors that affect both employers and employees? Remember, I said this is the twist. We're not just talking about employees. What of the employers? I want to really talk to the employers too and the employees to look at some of these factors that can affect you and your well-being. While you set up businesses to make profit, yes, but you need to check some of these factors, because if they are not checked, they can contribute to a negative well-being for both yourself, your business, and your employees. So let's look at them. One, financial crisis. You know that once your employee is having financial crisis, he's not going to leave that worry at home. He's going to bring it to your job. Financial crisis is hitting every one of us. Okay, the economy is very good. So every now and then, money is not enough. That thought alone, that worry alone can put both the employer and the employee off track. What do I suggest, or what do I advise? I advise that why you try to increase your source of income or look for a way out. I feel like as an employer, you can also decide to introduce some form of trainings to your employees. Don't just assume and think that, they should sort themselves out. They should think of how to make. I have a story of someone that got a job and she was supposed to be paid 60,000 naira. And she excitedly took the job because she has been waiting for a job. But the first week she resumed the work, because of the transportation hike and everything, which she didn't factor. Somebody that was going to collect 60,000 naira, but just 1 week into the job, she has spent close to 20 or 30,000 naira on transportation. How do you think that lady is going to cope? Just 1 week, and you have 4 weeks. That means if you spend like 20 or 20, let's say averagely 25,000 naira for 4 weeks, that's 100,000 naira, and your salary is 60,000 naira. How will you cope? So a lot of our employees come to the offices thinking about how they can cope with their crisis financially. What I advise is that we can, as employers, you can decide to introduce some form of cushions as much as you can, because you need your employees to be very happy and wanting to come to work. So palliatives is not a strange word. If you can get palliatives for them, weekly palliatives in terms of maybe augmenting for transportation or food supplies, it will make them happy. It will motivate them. Then trainings on financial management. Some of them too don't even know how to manage their money. So somebody that is earning 50,000 naira is deciding to, the first thing that is coming to his or her mind is buying a phone, that is worth more than even 50,000 naira. How do you want to cope? So there's financial management. You could have trainings on financial management for both yourself and your employers. They shouldn't be neglected. So financial crisis that is hitting at us right now is a very key factor that can affect our well-being in the offices, both as an employer as an employee. Okay. The second thing is, of course, physical health. Our health. A lot of our employees that come to work are sick, or they are not able to even take care of themselves properly. They don't have the knowledge. And what do you want to do with a sick employee? He's going to translate that sickness into his job. Another thing you see is a lot of, I am sick, sir, I can't come to work. I am sick, ma, I can't come to work. My child is sick, ma. My husband is sick, ma. My mama is sick, ma. And that has an overall effect on your job, on your work, on your productivity. So let us be conscious of our employees' health condition. Once in a while, you can hold trainings for them, how to take care of themselves, what to eat and what not to eat. Good diet, sleep hygiene, talk about it. Show compassion for their health. Do you know that there are some companies, there are some offices that don't even have simple first aid kits? You run a business and you don't have a first aid kit. So what happens if your staff gets injured? The staff thinks that, oh, I'm on my own. But if I know as a staff that, oh, if something happens to me, my employer is able to show a little bit of compassion, it will help me. It will really relieve a lot of stress. Also, education is very good, because once you can reduce the mental health issues in your offices, you have, in a way, increase your productivity, because your staff will resume office. They will come to office almost all the time. You will see them 5 days in a week, 6 days in a week coming, and they are happy. But if you don't, reverse is the case. Out of the 5 days, 2 days in a week, they'll tell you, I am sick. You understand? So taking care of, letting them know that they need to take care of themselves, even from the office angle. How often do you hold trainings is very important. Substance abuse, okay? This is both for the employer and the employee. It is never advisable to abuse substance. And when we say substance abuse, we're not just talking about hard drugs and all that. We're talking about abusing everything. Abusing relationships, abusing food, abusing so many things. Anything that you misuse its usage. I mean, you go overboard its usage, you are abusing it. Okay, so both you as an employer, you cannot abuse the privilege that you have as a boss. And both you as an employee, you cannot abuse the privilege that you have as a follower or as an employee. Stress and burnout. Most times in our offices, what do we see? We see people that are really working under intense pressure. Intense pressure. It is not right. It doesn't translate to productivity as far as I'm concerned. Even if it translates to productivity, it's just for a short time. You're going to have a lot of your employees breaking down, giving them too much to do without considering if they are coping well or they are not coping well. As an employer, you should know when your employee is beginning to burn out. You should know or create a conducive environment where your employees can come and talk with you and tell you that I am stressed and I need to rest. You understand? Then, of course, establishing and helping your employees to be able to balance their work and work and life. We call it work-life balance. Help them to balance it. Give them that opportunity, that platform to be able to balance it. Have some form of let the office be conducive enough. You understand? I know some offices that have crutches. For a nursing mother, she has a little tiny baby at home, and she's thinking half of the time in your office, she's thinking of her baby. What if there's a crutch and you employ a nanny? And it's okay, bring your baby and let the nanny take care of your baby while you're in the office so that you can concentrate. Just imagine that employer will thank you and will put in all her best. Employee, sorry, will thank you and will put in all his or her best to make sure that she's productive. I'm going to my last part now because of our time. And this is even the key point. And I really wish that you have something you are jotting down so that you will take note of these things. How do you prioritize mental well-being? This is especially for the employees and even the employers. Generally in the workplace, how do you prioritize mental health? Okay. I have 10 points. I'm going to run through them. And of course, the first thing I want to talk about is that you are saying prioritizing mental health, right? The first thing I want to say is be a priority. Make yourself a priority. You are prioritizing mental health and you're not thinking of yourself, it is zero. You want to prioritize mental health, be a priority yourself. Prioritize self-care. How often do you take care of yourself? How often do you think of yourself? Self-care is very key. So the first thing we are looking at here is take breaks. In the workplace, make sure you take your break. There's a reason why there's a break. There's a reason why there's a break. Especially, I call it screen break. A lot of times, most of our offices will work with laptops, computers, and all that. It's affecting us. Those rays of light that go into your eyes have a way of affecting you when it's too much. Take a break once every hour. Okay, if you can. If you can't, at least once every 2 hours, stand up from your seat, take a little walk, or remove your eyes from the screen, look somewhere, do a little bit of an exercise, moving your head, let your body move. Don't be too stiff looking at your laptop for more than 1-2 hours. Take a break. Learn to take a break. And especially lunch break. I'm a victim of that. When I was working in the bank, we could sit down for hours and not go for break. Why? Because we need to meet deadlines. But at a point, I told myself, man, I need to take a break. I need to learn to take a break, especially my lunch break. Okay, take regular breathing exercises. Number 2, because of time, I might not be able to show you how to do this, but it is very key. You can Google this. You can check it online. How do I do breathing exercises? When you do that, you build your heart muscles, and you are able to, in a way, mentally also build resilience for yourself. A lot of people, as it is now, if you want to test it, see how easily are you able to hold your breath? Can you hold your breath for 10 seconds? If you can't, then there's an issue. Means you need exercise. Okay, you need to exercise your muscles, your heart muscles, so that your heart can pump more blood out, which you need. So take regular breathing exercise. So we do that by breathing in, holding your breath, and breathing out regularly. Okay, it helps your mental well-being. Trust me. Then number 3, I say build strong support system. Build strong support system. Most times, some of us sit down and wait for support to come and meet us. You go build it. Look for nice people. Be nice to people so that they will be nice to you. So that when you need help, they will be there to help you. When you have too much work to do, is there anybody that you can talk to and say, please, can you help me with this? Help me with that? Some of us don't even have, because we are not nice to people. So if you are nice, you have people that can help you. This is even translated not just in the office, but even at home. How nice are you to your nannies? How nice are you to your housekeepers? How nice are you to your neighbors? You You know, there's a sense of well-being, there's a sense of relief it gives you when you know you have good neighbors around you, people that will look out for you when you're not there. You have your nannies that are okay, good for you. You have your colleagues that are good for you. Build strong support system. You can't do without support system. Trust me. When I teach work-life balance, I tell them key support system. Your husband, your significant other, how do you furnish that relationship so that he's a support system for you? Okay. Number 4, communicate your boundaries effectively. For well-being in the workplace, learn to communicate boundaries. Learn to say when it's no. No, when to say no. When your no is your no. When you have too much on your table and people are still bringing and bringing, learn to say no and do it effectively and assertively. We treat that under effective communication. Most of us are afraid to say no. We are afraid of what? Meanwhile, you are dying. But if you must prioritize your mental health, you must learn to define boundaries. There are some people that come only when you want to take a break. That is when they come. You should be able to tell them, I'm sorry, this period is my break period and I can't really take much. Can you give me just 30 minutes to relieve myself and then I'll come back? I'm just remembering a story that happened between me and you and I just recently. You know, I called you recently and I was asking you to help me do something. If you could help me do something with my daughter and all that. And you told me assertively and with all respect. And I was, you know, it was so calming. You told me that, oh, you would have loved to do it, but you didn't have the time. You explained to me and I really understood. So imagine if you are so, because I don't want to say no, and you take it on and then you disappoint me or you don't show up and all that, it will spoil relationship. So know when to say no, know when to say yes. It will help your well-being. Take social media breaks. This is key. Social media breaks. It helps you in discipline. When you're a disciplined worker, you are invariably working yourself. You know, tell yourself that if I'm in the office, I'm going to shut down social media, except if you need it for work. Set time where you go to social media for catching a fun or cruise or whatever. But not that you're in the office and the easiest, the number one way you want to distract yourself is social media. A lot of us use social media for distraction. But trust me, it is not just distraction, it's harming you. It is harming you. Learn to take breaks. Of course, stop drug and substance abuse. You know, like I said, I mentioned that before. Anything that you misuse the usage, you are abusing it. You are eating too much, you are abusing food. You are sleeping too much, you are abusing sleep. You are taking prescribed drugs, you are abusing drugs. You are taking hard drugs, liquor, alcohol, cigarettes, and all that. You have reasons, but are they healthy? Are they healthy reasons? Are they healthy reasons? Are they building you, or they are tearing you apart mentally and even physically? So say no to drugs and substance abuse. Number 7, explore playfulness. I can't overemphasize it. Let's learn to play, smile, laugh. Take out time in any of your 1 hour, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, put a comedy, look for a joke, and just laugh. You know, I'm laughing for myself too. Okay, learn to laugh, learn to be playful. Don't be too uptight. Don't take things too serious. Some things will come and pass. Issues will come and pass. The day will come and pass. But you know what you do is very important. So don't take things too serious. Because I need to take serious some measures on ground on how you take them serious. But learn to play. Play with your partners. Play with your colleagues. Play with your children. Learn to laugh, joke. It helps with your well-being. Number 8, express gratitude daily. I encourage you to keep gratitude journals. Have a journal. By all means, have a journal document. This is beyond measure that helps. It's helpful. Being able to get your thoughts together and get yourself to a point where you can think of something you are grateful for in a day. You are rewiring your brain. You are rewiring your brain to be positive, to see every positivity in everything. And that is one of the most empowering things you can do to yourself. So learn to be grateful. Look for something you are grateful for every single day. It's not possible that everything that happened to you from beginning to the end of your day is so bad. There will be something positive. Oh, even if there's nothing, thank God for the air you're breathing, that you are not paying for it. You're not paying for the air. Number 9, always also explore flexible arrangements. Learn to be flexible. Don't be thy kingdom come kind of person, This is how it is, this is how it must be. Learn to be flexible. Be flexible with your work routine, be flexible with your processes, be flexible with things. Explore how things can be done, automation. These are very key. Don't be too still. If you don't press this thing like this, it will not work. Oh, what about if I'm pressing it on my hand is paining me? Is there a equipment that I can use to press this and this thing will just work? We can learn to make our life easy when we look at flexible options that we can do. You understand? Then finally, I kept this to the last, and that is, you need a therapist. You need a counselor. It's okay to have a therapist. It's okay to have a counselor. It's okay to have someone you can unburden to. Okay? Either a trained therapist or an untrained therapist. So sometimes our husbands, for those that are married, our parents and all that, or best friends are our untrained therapists. But by all means, have someone that you can unburden to. The more you keep things inside of you, the more you endanger yourself and you lessen your chance of being productive in your workplace. Okay? So if you can afford a trained therapist, please do that. If you cannot, then build support systems where you can pick someone that when I cry, I have a shoulder to cry on, or I have someone I can unburden to, and it's very key. Good. So I think I've hit my time, and I'm going to pause here and allow us ask questions so that I can know if there's any area I have not addressed, or if there's any area I need to buttress, and we can go on from there. Coach Esther.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. You've covered a whole lot. You
Are you
spoke
able
about the
to?
strategy. Hello, thank you so much, Ma. I love the fact that you spoke about the signs we need to look out for, those signs of mental health issues. We have heard stories, so many stories, and it's becoming overwhelming. People have to start seeking spiritual help, and it look as if the medical aspect is no longer giving solutions and all. I heard a story of a woman recently, a young woman from Kenya, a journalist, and she was doing well. She received the presidential award in her country and all. And within 2020 to 2024, she became a mad woman in the streets. I was so shocked. I was like, what happened? Is this a spiritual issue and all? But when I read deeply into her story, I discovered that she was so engrossed in her work, in that journalism work. I'm sorry, I have to use her example. It's a real life example. She was so engrossed in that work that she paid attention to nothing other than her work. And unfortunately, that led to a breakdown. And even when she was broken, nobody believed her. People thought she was pretending, you know. Nobody
Mhm.
believed that she was broken. At the end of the day, she quit her job, even and went for a lesser paid job. She wasn't performing well, and somehow she lost her finances and all, and she started staying in the streets and all. So the question now is, what resources can organization leverage on to support employees mental health? Because I don't know, I don't want to use the word nobody cares, but it look as if in our work environment, people care more about what you can give them than your own mental health. They care about the value you are bringing to the organization, and when you are no longer bringing that value, they don't mind laying you off. So how can
Yeah.
we become more human as employers? How can we become more human as organizations? I don't know if we should be less corporate or something, but how can we become more human?
No, no, no,
And
no.
what resources can organizations leverage on to support their employees' mental health?
Okay, yeah, I think very good examples and all that. And we have them so many. And I'd mentioned it, and that's why I said most times when we talk about mental health, we're particular about the employee. The employer needs to hear things like this. We need to have training for employers. They know that you don't just set up businesses without factoring well-being of your employees. Them just put it on papers and okay, we'll take care of you. We want to do this for you and all that. But in reality, it doesn't happen. For instance, I know of some employers who have like an inbuilt, they have like a stay-in counselor, they stay-in therapist, someone that's okay. So I need to okay. They have like stay-in therapist that is around to counsel you, because sometimes some of these people have issues that you yourself as an employer cannot handle. You can't help them. So you need to refer them to a therapist. Apart from you creating an enabling environment, first of all, what we are trying to do is start, and that's why you hear people coming up now to say they are mental health advocates, all that, because we need to advocate, to tell people that it is okay not to be okay. It is okay to say it. I am not okay. I am feeling this and that. And the more we talk about things like this, the more we have this kind of conversation, what are we doing? We are reducing the shame and the stigma, and the stigma, the shame and the stigma. We are no longer in 2020 where these things are strange to us. It's okay for people to have depressive issues, to have anxiety issues, PTSD issues. It's okay, because once they have it and they come out to say, this is what is wrong with me, I'm feeling stressed, overwhelmed, burnout and all that, immediately the employer should take note and start to ask the right questions. And if he cannot help, then refer the person to a right trained therapist that can help the person. So, for instance, the example you gave, if the woman was early enough treated, she would have been in a better place now. But probably because she felt afraid to even speak out, or she probably has spoken up, but nobody believed her and she was neglected. So, first of all, we must know that it is okay to be the same way we excuse physical health. We must learn to excuse and be compassionate with people that have mental health issues. It is real, guys. It is very real. And it affects a lot of us. In fact, statistically, we know that 1 out of every 4, even Nigerian or an adult, are suffering from mental health issues. Trust me. What does that mean? Meaning that wherever you are now, you're looking at somebody at your right, left, front, and back. One person has mental health issues. One person is just not able to cope with life and needs our help, needs our compassion, needs our empathy, and needs us to tell him that, see, you will be fine. You can be fine. You just need the right person to talk to you, or you need to talk to the right person, or change your lifestyle, or adopt or remove some form of lifestyle that you have adopted. Okay? So it boils down to the employer and the employee. It's a two-way thing.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. We've really taken your time, but we have one question from Nosa Ns Osanwese. I believe he's sending a message from Edo State, Nigeria. He said, why is it difficult for people struggling with mental health issues to locate trained therapists? Secondly, how can employees win the trust of their supervisors in sharing their mental health challenges?
Sorry, the second part I didn't hear.
Okay, the second question is that he's asking how employees can win the trust of their supervisors in sharing their mental health
Okay.
challenges.
Okay. So first of all, I feel like in every state there should be a trained therapist that you can talk to. You sometimes just you need to Google. A lot of us, especially the structured, like I said, the structured and trained therapists, we have a website, we have social media handles, we have something you can locate. So maybe if you're in Edo State, for instance, I'm going to Google and write therapy or mental health expert in a state. I'm sure you will have some information there that will help you. Okay. Then number two, how can you win the trust of your employee team You know until you try. Most of us stop at just, I can't do this. I can't share. I, shall I, shouldn't I? We leave it at our thought level. But never say until you try, until you take that action. Sometimes, under communication, we are taught you need to learn how to communicate because it entails when and where to communicate. Sometimes you need to look at your body, happy. When is this happy moment? When is he always cheerful? Then you can go in there now and have that conversation. Oh, sir, I need to talk to you about something. I attended a training and I learned that I learned a lot of mental health. Then I discovered that I think I'm having this area. So have a conversation. But you can never know if you don't try. Now, the second part is maybe you have tried and then your employer seems not to believe you. Well, in that case, there's really nothing you can do aside taking care of yourself. You need to now see what you can do by yourself, meaning you have to go look for a therapist for yourself. A therapist will give you a more effective way or method to take care of yourself, even if your employer is not cooperating with you. At the extreme case, on the extreme case, maybe you find yourself in a very toxic environment, toxic work environment that is capable of killing you, that is capable of taking your life, then please, by all means, remove yourself from the environment. Get another job. Plan yourself. Tell yourself in the next 6 months, I shouldn't be doing this work because it's hampering with my mental health. And start planning to get another job. Start planning to get another job. So don't kill yourself because I have to be in a job. No, there are still so many other jobs out there. If there are no jobs out there, please create a job for yourself.
All right, so much. Thank you so
Over
much,
to you.
Coach Ladi Felix, for your time and the value you have shared so far. We can see that it's from your heart. You're not just talking, you're not just giving us head knowledge, you're giving us something from experience, something from the art, something that is workable that we can work with. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation once again. We hope that our listeners and those who will be watching the replay of this session on YouTube and other platforms would reach out to you. So, for our listeners, you can reach out to Coach Ladi Felix. She is a retired banker, and at the same time, she's currently practicing as a mental health coach. You can reach out to her via our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other platforms. You can also just send her a message to book a session with her. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you have a
What I'm
final
going to
word
do,
for the
Esther,
audience?
what I'm going to do is that, I'm an advocate for mental health, and like you rightly say, I do this from my heart. Okay. I charge people to talk with them and to treat them, yes, but then I'm also very compassionate. So what I'm going to do is that between today and tomorrow, maybe in the next 24 hours, yeah, I'll make it 24 hours. If anybody reaches me and mentions that he's from Esther Adelano from this program, there's going to be I don't want to say discount, but then I'll be very, very considerate. Seriously. I mean, I can give you a form of like a free talk therapy and all that, something that will really help you. So within 24 hours, if anybody reaches me and like, oh, I need help, I need us to talk about something, you can send me a WhatsApp message. Can I mention my phone number or is it being displayed?
Okay, you can go ahead and mention it, but at the same time anticipate calls from people even after today, because this session will be
It's okay.
rebroadcasted.
It's okay, but remember I said 24 hours. I will just take from 20, after 24 hours, I have my measures. You won't even get me, you will get someone else that will talk to you. So just take the number because I really want to help. I really want to help. 08036471584 is okay. 08036471584. Let's have these conversations. I really want to help. If you really feel that you need help, call the line, send a message, and let's have a conversation. But remember to mention that you're from Esther Adelono or you just listening to this program and organized by Esther, and I will sure take note of that. Thank you so much, Esther. Thank you for your time and for what you are doing. I want to say that you keep it up because you are saving lives, and we want to trust that lives will be changed. And then, as lives are changed, we'll have better working environment, better society, and better family, and better human beings. Thank you so much. See you
Thank
another
you,
time.
ma. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
ma. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, you can reach out to her on our platforms. Thank you for joining us in today's edition of Purpose, Profit, and Power Leadership webinar. We'll be having another edition next month. Kindly share this video with people you feel it's going to be of help to. See you next time.